In our top story tonight, Tucker Carlson aired his mega-redacted director's cut of the January 6th riot, and it makes the whole thing seem like a homespun family affair involving Wally and the Beeve. And if you don't get that reference, then you probably don't watch Fox News. According to Tucker Carlson, this is how January 6th went down. No, actually, here's what's interesting. He showed all the violent stuff that we've all seen, but then he also showed people just walking around, and for some reason wanted us to think that the walking around people canceled out the stab you with a flagpole people? Like, that's not how the news works. I guess according to Tucker, news coverage should look like this. In tonight's top story, there were a few murders today, but more importantly, a butterfly landed on a flower and it was very peaceful. Now let's go to Austin with the weather. Austin, I heard we have some tornadoes coming through later tonight?
We sure do, Andrea. But I'd rather talk about 2 months from now, in May. May is going to be absolutely gorgeous. And that's all we should be thinking about right now.
So I don't need to take cover in a closet when the sirens go off?
Absolutely not. Just keep thinking about how great May's gonna be as your barbecue pit comes flying through your window. And your skull.
You know, for a guy whose entire personal brand is making a big deal out of nothing, watching him make a molehill out of a mountain was a real departure. Good on you, Tucker, for being willing to reinvent yourself. But here's what's really surprising about Tucker's effort to redeem the worst day of Donald Trump's presidency. He hates Donald Trump. In new text that came out this week from the Dominion lawsuit against Fox News, Tucker said, quote, "I hate him passionately." And, quote, "We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait." So why is Tucker Carlson trying to save the image of a man that he despises? Well, he's not only scared of Trump, he's also scared of his supporters. Imagine your friends have brought their toddler over to your house for a visit. The toddler wants a juice box before nap time. The problem is, it's illegal for the toddler to have a juice box before nap time. But the parents always agree with the toddler, so they pull out a gun and point it at your face and demand a juice box. Tucker Carlson is the guy that, instead of saying, "You people are crazy," which is the objective truth and something he believes to his core, starts shouting, "Won't someone get this kid a juice box? I will not rest until this kid has his juice box." And that's where we are right now in America, giving a crabby toddler whatever he wants so that his people don't shoot you in the face. Donald Florida man Trump delivered a speech at the CPAC conference, which left at least 10 fact-checkers dead and many more in critical condition. All of CPAC, including his speech, was poorly attended, but you'd never know it because the Trumpster knows how to improv.
And by the way, I want to thank the fire department. Look at these people. They're up the rafters. Thank you, fire department.
Can we get a look at that crowd? Where exactly are those rafters, Don? Now, there are two explanations for the tiny crowd size. One, CPAC took place at the Gaylord National Resort. The people that would have come probably saw that and said, "I'm sure as heck not drinking the water at that place." The other possible reason for the dearth of Trump supporters is that they couldn't come because they're all broke after he ripped them off so many times. Ron DeSantis wants to make America Florida. But what does he mean by that? More meth addicts wrestling alligators? Let's take a look at what's going on in the Sunshine State so we can see what America's in for if he's elected. First up, there's a red tide in Florida. And no, we're not talking about Governor DeSantis' agenda. We're talking about a toxic algae bloom that's killing fish. There's also a python invasion in Florida right now, so if you love extra snakes, Ron's got your back. And here's a Florida wedding venue owner waving a gun at the bride and groom at their own wedding. So we can only assume that with DeSantis in charge, America's weddings are going to get a lot more interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling for illegal military strikes against Mexico. Interestingly, Mexico hasn't called for a military invasion of the U.S. despite its citizens being routinely maimed on U.S. farms, or for white sororities throwing Cinco de Drinko parties. MTG also wants to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization. When asked for her reasoning, Greene said, "Those people are crazy and dangerous, plus black people scare me." She then shot her tax return with an assault rifle. Say goodbye to overly strict child labor laws in Arkansas. A new law proposes striking them down. Oh, now I know why Republicans don't want abortions. It's because the meat packing plants are understaffed and we need all those sweet, sweet babies to hop on the line and start chopping chicken necks. Will Smith wants to patch it up with Chris Rock, who just made a lot of money talking smack about him on Netflix. Will Smith's going to have to find a way to make it profitable if he wants that to happen. I have a suggestion. We send the two of them on a road trip, film the whole thing, and option it as a docuseries. We'll call it A Rocky Road Trip. Where there's a will, there's a way. Cha-ching! Reconciliation never felt so profitable. Pete Davidson and his new girlfriend recently got together with a stranger's house and his car. The newly formed power coupling broke up shortly after that when a tow truck intervened. Pete was later seen getting back together with a bottle of vodka, presumably after an overdue breakup with the liquor store clerk. Who or what won't Pete Davidson smash? Thought waiting 2 hours in line for the world's grossest porta potty wasn't torture enough? Well, good news. This year, the CIA, yes, that CIA, is setting up shop at South by Southwest. Bring the kids around for a hands-on waterboarding demo, or, for platinum ticket holders, order a few extrajudicial killings. All weddings have been moved to the following week due to safety concerns. The so-called merchant of death that was exchanged for Brittany Griner's release is starting his new career in Russia as an artist. Now I know what you're wondering. Sure, he's killed a bunch of people, but is his art any good? And yeah, kinda. Here he is posing with some of his artwork, and you'll see back here he painted a little kitty cat. Isn't that sweet? This guy's life story is murder, 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 prison, oil pastels, kitty cat. There's absolutely no telling what's next, which is terrifying. And finally tonight, Funko is set to throw out $30 million worth of inventory. Funko's parent company seems surprised at the negative reaction to the decision, citing how you never play with them anymore, they're just cluttering up the place, and aren't you a bit old for those anyway? Funko's other parent company suggested maybe giving the dolls to your little cousins. That wraps up this week's Friday Phoenix. Don't forget to subscribe!